Uh, so, the only thing I know about Zach is from looking at him on Facebook. So that would be my major concern. Not,
Yeah.
usually it's you running the deal with all your stuff, and I've known you
Mike,
for
if
a
you want
while.
to split 50-50, I'll stay involved. I've done all the due diligence on it already, but
I was just
let's
gonna say, Mike, if you want more hands-on, obviously I have the flexibility. I can go up and visit Zach a couple times a month for the first
there you
whatever
go.
6 months of the deal.
Anyway, welcome back to the Alchemist Nation podcast. I think there's a deal here that we're working on with
I,
Zach. Maybe there's something there, but today we've got myself, Gualter Amarelo, Michael Shine, Mitch Jorsky, and we've got a special guest, Brian Kent. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And thanks for looking at that deal with us. So, Brian, we brought you on because there's a lot of things that you do outside of the real estate space. There's military that you have the background with. You've done these monster contracts, but you brought a deal in that I just found out about last week. And it's like 14 houses, 17 houses. You're a lender, so you're primarily aiming towards being more and more a lender. You started the debt fund, the Alchemist Growth and Income Fund, and you were lending on a deal, and then you actually started owning the deal. So that's a very interesting story where the lender actually came in and solved the problem and took over operations. So we're going to dive into that today. But Brian, how long were you in the military? And by the way, thank you for your service.
Yeah, 20 years. Yep, retired. Been in corporate America since then. I'm actually found a nice, cool, shady place. It's 105 here in southern New Mexico. I'm actually doing a test and evaluation on some field equipment for the military tonight. So it's a pretty interesting day. Matter of fact, as I cut across the Highway 80 of Arizona, I got pulled over by 5 Border Patrol. They thought I was smuggling something.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's nice to know that our border works.
he was
I
he
was
was
in Russia and
he
they
was
were
filming
like
the mule
begging me to
too.
come in.
I
What
would
is
say
it,
that
Mitch?
looked like I belonged in a white SUV and a white guy like me, that close to the border, I guess.
Clearly a problem. Clearly, maybe they were worried for you. They were concerned that something could be going on and they wanted to make sure you were safe. So, Brian, how did you get into government contracts?
Oh wow! So 2020, in 2000, my last 5 years of the military, I actually converted to be a government procurement guy, a purchasing officer, and program manager. So I did that for about 4.5 years. Then I retired and really just took the skills I had learned on how the government bought and sold and manipulated money, and started a company as a consultant. Within about 12 months, that company was about 15 or 20 people. And then it kind of took off from there. Kind of capped out. It grew. I think I got to about 165 people, about 18 million a year. And it was time to kind of divest of some of it. And I did. But yeah, so for the last 20 years, I've been in the industry space for the government, either in testing, buying, or program management.
So we know we have some experience with government contracts. Believe it or not, we've been involved in government contracts, but it didn't work out for us. We weren't
Yeah,
very good. Go
yeah,
ahead, Mike.
guaranteed with the Lloyd's of London insurance and no middleman involved at all.
Was it overseas work for what you were using Lloyd's?
Yeah, it was supposedly the Turkish government, but actually it was just a big Ponzi scheme. So,
Oh,
look,
yep.
Walter said he would never talk about this again, but he keeps bringing it up, which just keeps creating more of it. So,
We
That's
happen to have a guy who does government contracts on the call.
so. Whenever
Brian,
these
where'd we go
these are
wrong?
real. His are real.
I
Wait a
know.
sec, that's different.
whenever I run into those, the first thing I do is say, "What are you doing next week?" And so that's why you see me in the Maldives, or you see me in Morocco, or you see me. I
Yeah.
just like when I bought my oil tanks, my oil rigs. I told the guys I can be in Dallas in 3 days. Can you? I'm gonna spend the day with you.
And you got that picture, and now you got proof that you've been to Dallas and you got some oil investments. And by the way, because you have that picture, you were very helpful with Dorina when she bought her first oil investment. So,
Yep.
very helpful to find somebody who actually knows what these are. So, Brian, Mike and Mitch and myself, we're always having this conversation around what's the better asset class. Where should we spend our time? Where should we spend our money? We're very interested in protection, growth, alpha, beta, delta, sigma, all the different things that they do options trading. I don't
All
do
the
options
Greeks.
trading, and yeah, all the things. you've traveled through real estate investing, you've traveled through business investing, through acquisitions. Uh, you've owned. You were doing flips at one point. What, 20 years ago? You were doing flips in North Carolina. How many were you flipping at a time?
Yes, so from 04 to 08, we probably did 50 or 60 flips. Plus, we did some commercial property. We bought some warehousing and flex space. And we weren't too big to get out, but about March of '08, we actually saw the crash coming.
Nice
And,
job.
so we started liquidating as quick as we could. And then we took all that money and went and bought a big commercial building, which, I ended up owning 57,000 square foot flex space. And we just sunk all the money in one building that I got as a distressed building. And I bought it for 800K, put about 500K in it, sold it for about 3.5, 10 years later. So, but we saw
Why
that.
was that? Why was that protected from the crash? Like, why would you take your money out of all this other stuff and then into
Because
this?
basically when we went to the flex space, I was worried about cash flow. I didn't care about appreciation. I didn't care about loans. I didn't care about any of the other stuff.
What'd you have in there? Like, what type of stuff?
It was defense contractors that needed office space and storage.
Synergy, Mike. It's synergy. We had
Yep.
all these guys he knew doing business together, owned the building. Not a bad idea. It's
Yeah.
very much like Brian Mazzilli. Hey, I need something. Let me go buy the whole thing.
That's right. Well, the guy
So
told me,
you-
if you want a plane, if you ever want a plane, go buy a hangar.
Wow.
He
That's
goes,
the
because-
manifesting.
he said, because then when you buy your plane, you've already, the hangar's paid for because you're renting to 4 other planes. When he bought his yacht, he bought a whole slip with like 12 slots. So he paid nothing for his maintenance, nothing for, so he basically just had the cost of the boat, but all the rest of it was paid for.
I got buddies who own some of my friends own the Newport Yachting Center, and they own like 3 other marinas out in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, and they have some nice weekend trips and little things that they do because they've already got the marinas. It's like, well, whatever you want, it can come in here.
Exactly.
So Brian, you did the military thing. You started flipping back in '04 and you got out in '08. Ironically, I got in '08. I thought that was a great time to get in, and I just watched my property go down in value. So I learned quite the lesson of don't do that. And you are now operating the AGIF fund. You came to the summit. What got you to the summit in the first place? How did you end up meeting Gary Eaker? Because I know Gary was a big instrument in
So
connecting with you.
you had given the task from the masterminds to just
And
find
for
somebody.
everybody who's listening right now, if you're like hearing from me, hey, you should go talk to 100 millionaires, call really wealthy people, listen to this. This is somebody who's actually implemented it and seen it in their lives. Go ahead, Brian. What did he do?
Yes. So Gary hit me up on LinkedIn on an email and said, "Hey, can I take you to lunch?" And of course, I'm counsel and assist retirees, a lot. I get calls, hey, about there is life after you get out of your uniform. Wasn't sure Gary hadn't been retired that long, so I thought that was kind of the purpose for it. And so we went to lunch and we went into this whole thing of what he was doing, the task you'd given him to go find somebody that looked wealthy in your network and go from there. And so that grew into you've helped me a lot today. What can I do for you? Well, I'm about to write a book. I need a ghostwriter. So from the lunch, he got a mentor for real estate, and I got a ghostwriter out of the deal. So it was a pretty good lunch, and it only cost him, I think I had a buffalo chicken sandwich or something like that. So, but so that turned into me speaking, and I think it was Brandon, and then I met you, and I met some of the other folks, and then the next thing you know, we're talking about me coming to speak at the summit. And it's just kind of snowballed from there. And the mission of helping people for me is huge. I mean, every time somebody says something, I always want to go back to how are we helping people, right? That's why when I see a mission statement for what we're trying to do, I like to say we build millionaires. I don't even want to put a number on it because we can't have enough of them.
That's
right.
right.
Because the
Infinite
more
game.
the more of them we got playing the game, the more of them we got working with us, the more synergy we have across the whole U.S. and the globe. And so that's really how I got it included in the Alchemist Nation. And then as I started doing the masterminds and some of the meetings, I saw you had operators and no cash, and I said, okay, we obviously need a fund. And so therefore we're obviously we're learning as we go to that. How do we get it up? How do we stay legal? How do we keep the SEC off our back? And so we're working through that. We got it up and operational in November, and now we're starting to run money through it. And we're still kind of getting the structure right, but I think it's by this year we're ready to go.
Yeah, I like it. It's been a long journey. So this deal you put together, this is it 17 properties. How many properties are involved in this? So
So
you're a lender. Like you got
I'm,
into lending
I'm
before you
doing
tell us
two.
about this deal.
Yeah,
How
so
did
I've
you
got
get into
two.
lending?
Well, I got into lending because I've been lending hard money for years as a lender, and but when I got into the two deals that you're talking about now, one's a 17 property in Ohio, just south of Cleveland. The other one is 13 properties in Tampa, believe it or not. So I'd
Wow.
invested in both. Both of them are kind of upside down. It is the one in Ohio. One of the partners took the money and vacationed. And so therefore we're trying to get all that fixed. But again, though, when you're dealing with flips, there's usually enough equity you can go in and try to fix it with the right operator. And
Yeah.
then the one in Tampa was not far enough. It was worse off because I couldn't just refinance and get everybody's money back. That one, actually, I'm into it. I do probably 2 to 4 hours a week. I mean, I've got my accountant working with it. I've got my EA working with it. But we had 13 properties. We went to do an appraisal on one of the properties. The city had already torn it down. There's just a foundation there. So
No, no way. You don't find out until the appraisal?
my appraiser called me and said, "There's only a concrete slab here."
I thought you said as soon as somebody has a deal, you go fly out and look at it.
Well, this one is the deal I was taking over.
Oh,
So I'd never seen so the properties I had lended against were in Tampa. But when I took over the whole company, because I took over the whole company.
gotcha.
Yeah. So basically, and the guy was running it on email, text, and paper. It's now in QuickBooks. Needless to say that record keeping now is going to be great for me for the tax write-off that I'm going to have at the end of this year.
Right?
For the tax write-off, huh?
That's crazy. I just want to, so you're talking to your appraiser and he says, "Hey, there's no building here." What, what was your first reaction? Did you laugh? Did you cry? What, that,
So the first thing I did was when I found we had 13 properties, I scheduled an appraisal to see what the damage really was going to be, right, for all the property.
yeah.
And the guy calls me. It's like a Monday or Tuesday morning, like 9 o'clock. He says, "Hey, Mr. Kent," he said, "Have you got this property up here in Hudson?" I'm going, "Yeah." He goes, "The paperwork says there's a house here for me to appraise." I said, "Yeah, it's supposed to be like a 3-2." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna send you a picture."
God.
He said, "I want to make sure I got the right address."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, here's the address." He goes, "Yeah, I'm at the right address." I said, "What do you see there that I need a picture of?" He says, "Well, there's not a house here, just a concrete slab."
Brian, come on. You've been involved in government long enough. It's a stealth house. That's why you couldn't see it. It's high
Yeah,
tech.
that's right.
It's a new stealth housing. You're on the cutting edge.
So come to find out, the guy had bought it off like the blotted list or the plight list, right, from the city, and he had so long to turn in his plan for the rehab. He missed it. I guess I don't know if he didn't get the notice or what he didn't get. So when the city said, "Well, you ain't fixed it," it's gone. So
Wow.
so that one is going to be interesting because, as you can imagine, he bought it as a flip at a higher value than the dirt. So, we're going through now what is actually real estate loans versus what we're going to have to call company loans that he's going to have to do some sweat equity to earn out on.
Wow. Wow.
Absolutely
Crazy.
fascinating.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. It's again, it's getting both sets. It's operators that are you know they know the story. They've got a track record, but then as they're trying to scale, they just run out of smarts, right? They just run out of their intellectual capital to scale. It's kind of like I was literally having a conversation with him today that, well, I need to sell the pool guy. Well, I need you to, because he can't pay nothing. I'm the only guy that pays anybody.
I know. I'm very familiar with the process.
Yeah.
So is Mike. We know that part. So is Mitch.
And so
We're the
that's
money
what
guys.
I said, well, first of all, you got to get your guys here. We're going to do a little bit more of this for the next couple of weeks, and then nobody's getting paid till the job's done.
Mm.
I said, and then we're going to work where I'm only paying them once a month.
Yep.
I said, because,
Cleveland, we got down to one time every 2 weeks. So we're down to
yeah.
two.
So
once
I said,
every
because
2 weeks. Yep.
you can imagine, I can't go do what I do having to stop 20 times a week or 30 times a week to move a couple dollars for you.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that. And I'm not turning the keys back over to you because you've already run up, second and third mortgages against houses.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed to put any more mortgages on things. That's
Well, the good news is a lot of people gave them the money without tying it to the properties. So
well,
that's
good news for him, not good news for them.
exactly. So that's why we had to get all the notes in, all the real estate notes in. We had to get the titles and see who had. And so now we're in the process. Obviously, everybody that's on a note is moving into company debt and not against any properties. So, and then of course, the first thing I had to do when I got the first round of money was catch up everybody that actually had a lien. So that was about 120K.
Wow. So this has been going on for a while. It wasn't just overnight.
Started in June.
So this is new.
Yeah, it's about a $5.4 million portfolio where I thought he owed about 2.5, but he really owes about 4.
Oh wow.
So when we get it all cleaned up, and then if the appraisals come back like they should, there's still about $1 million in play, which I think I can have all of them sold before December because I've already got him on a very strict schedule. I'll have 6 of them ready to put up for sale here by the end of August, and I've got a buyer that wants rentals that'll give me 85 cents on the dollar as long as it cash flows. So we're doing the math on that. He wants 50 of those, so he might take 3 or 4 of them off of me, which will take a week to close. We're still clear between 50, maybe 40 to 70K per property.
Oh,
And then, of course, what I'm going to do with that, he wants 50. Well, he just gave me a streamline of business. So I got to give him 47 more at least. So it's easy math. So I'm going to put this guy, the team to work. We'll try to do 47 more, which means I already got a buyer.
So Brian, I got to ask, this is really interesting because what I don't think anybody else heard is that you got this under agreement because you were the lender, but there are other lenders in this loan who didn't take over this company. Why?
That's right.
Why are you different from all the other lenders who are kind of just getting bundled in company debt or getting their notes paid off? What separates you as a lender operator that changed your scenario here to actually being the only lender who's going to win big? Say it again.
Chapter 6 of the R Factor.
Chapter 6 in the R Factor. What? So for everybody who doesn't know, Brian wrote the book, The R Factor, which stands for the R is
relationship management.
Relationships. And what is chapter 6?
So chapter 6 is knowing your vendors and your suppliers and your customers. So obviously I needed to know more about this guy that I was loaning money to off and on. We build a relationship. Then when he starts slipping on pay, okay, what's causing the slip? Pretty soon I know his wife and I know his 2 daughters. I know more about him. Till finally he's ready to cry uncle. And I said, okay, hold on. You got to define the problem here. Help me understand the problem. And none of the other lenders, all they were doing was bitching about not getting paid.
Yep.
So when I got him to start revealing the whole story, I could see, okay, there's a way better deal in here for all of us. I can get rid of all of them.
Yep.
And still make more money than I'm owed with one of my loans. So because I built the relationship with him, now for him and his family, I'm like the best thing that God could have sent him this year.
Yep.
And he tells me, thank you every time we're on the phone for helping him get this up because he's tired of creditors chasing him down. And I'm giving him life again. Right now he's ready to go back. Hey, if you'll do this piece for me, I'll go find the deals. And he just found in St. Petersburg a $320,000 house on the golf course is valued at $560,000.
It's so crazy. This is what we're doing in Cleveland, right? These guys that I hired out there are operators, and they're just like, dude, if you can just keep bringing the money in, we'll go do all the work. We'll make sure it all cash flows. We'll do all of this. This is something that passive investors dream of. How did you find this operator? Right? This is not an easy task. I know Michael Schein's been very fortunate because, no, it's probably not just fortune. He's probably actually very good at evaluating people. He did write the book on how to partner, the profitability through partnerships, the fast track to millions. So how did you how do you find good operators? How do you find people that, like, if you can help them with their money side, they can actually go out and do all the work?
So for me, I look at their track record, right? So I talked to two people that loaned him money. We started small. We started with 50K for a flip, and he turned it on, did it on the dime. Everything was good. We got our, 10 or 15% in 6 months. So it was one of those things we worked into to where all of a sudden I got several $100,000 with him, right? So now it's a matter of was that you get bigger money in there, you got a little more interest in what happened in the operation. So again, though, it's talking to him, having the relationship. I've talked to him today 4 times,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because I got 6 houses under renovation, right? And we're talking to, and the big thing too is getting him and his team into paper, right? Or into email. Don't text me with a picture or something you need approved. Give me an email, CC the finance office in my EA. Therefore, if I don't get it back to you quick enough, they'll make sure I do. Then when I hit approve, I hit reply all. So now the bookkeepers know the money's moving. They know exactly where we're moving the money from, et cetera. So it's putting that structure, Gualter, like you and I've talked about, just behind it. And then the guy has relationships like you wouldn't imagine across the whole Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area.
So it comes down to relationships. It comes down to digging. I said this to one of our lenders. So we run Be the Bank, and you're on Be the Bank all the time. But one of our lenders in there, she said that she had just lent some money and didn't know them. And I was like, well, that's kind of a rule I don't like to break. I like to know who the operator is. And I told her, I was like, your homework is take them out to lunch, like take them out to breakfast or get coffee, like just do something to get to know them a little better. And she was like, oh, I think it'll be fine. Fast forward 90 days. And I said, hey, like she got paid back, had success. And she unmuted the microphone. She said, yeah, no, I got paid back from a different loan that I knew that person. This loan's in default. It's like this one, isn't working out the way I thought it would. And so it goes back to like, reason I ask is I've seen people fail. I have one buddy in Tampa. You have a mutual friend in Tampa who has really lost, like really is frustrated with lenders. So if you could, I'll say the same thing to Mike and Mitch and Brian, because I told Brian he'd be out of here in 30 minutes, and I've got 1,000 questions for him, but I know we got to wrap this up. What, for somebody who's looking into the debt fund, so you chose a debt fund versus an equity fund. You chose to help people invest with this, like a debt product, right? And most debt products people are aware of are the government bonds, they pay like 4 or 5%. Why did you choose a debt product? And then what is the difference between debt and equities? And do you do both? Have you invested in both? So
yes, I've done both. I'm in 2 or 3 syndications, and I've got one of them that, as we've said, I've had to put another $2,500 in there to make them whole, right? But I think the key and what I liked about the debt fund is it takes that volatility of the property out, and I'm sometimes you just want to have a steady check, right? And it goes back to in the fund where I've been talking about, we don't need everybody's money. We just let's go back to the Merrill Lynch model. How much is supposed to be in some type of fixed income or asset, right? And as long as a fund can outperform a bond, why the hell would you buy a bond anyway, right? If you know you got good, there's just better money out there. And so the piece to the debt piece for me is it's steady, it's ready, and you just let it grow. Now that doesn't mean some people say I'm way too aggressive on some things, right? And
Me too.
so, but again, though, it goes back to portfolio management.
Yeah.
How much of your portfolio should be in a good return? Some of the syndications pay 8-9%. The debt fund we're paying 12 if you lock your money up for 2 years, 9 if you do it for a year. So we're in the ballpark at AGIF for the fund. And I've seen some now with 14 because I think some people are seeing the value of cash to go take down these distressed properties that are popping up every day. And so I just think there's the debt piece. It gives people the peace of mind. Like the gentleman I talked to the other day, he's wanting to send maybe $500K to us. Yep. He said he's made good money since Trump's been president, right? His whole portfolio has just came back and is worth more now than it was, 2 years ago. And so he's now approaching 68, and he's wanting to.
Mike, be careful. Your wife sometimes watches these.
Yeah,
Oh,
And
she doesn't care. She knows that we're making money. She wouldn't give
yeah,
Trump, she wouldn't give Trump credit for it, but it's just
but
a
Thank
he,
you, Trump.
timeline.
yeah, but
Brian
so
wasn't saying it's because of Trump. He's just saying since that time, this guy's been making a lot of money.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
theoretical.
Yeah,
They're
who knows?
unrelated.
Yeah.
Anyway, but now he's like, hey, he
Love
wants
you,
to go
babe.
back. He wants to go back to a model, and so if we can give him 12%, then he's like, even if it's only 9,
Yeah.
for him, it takes the volatility out, and he can remove some of his assets to put some stability into his retirement program because he would like to really semi-retire. And and like I say, he's got money coming in from patents and revenue and royalties, and now he's just going to keep some of the stock market, but he's going to move some out.
So Brian, you've been doing a lot of speaking. You are literally, you mentioned it earlier, you're on a plane somewhere else almost every week. I don't think you've spent a single month at home. You live in Tampa. I've been to your home. We've eaten dinner together, but I don't know that I've ever seen a whole month go by where you stay in Florida, where you stay in Tampa. You travel to DC, you travel to Hawaii, you went out and you did Morocco. You're all over the place. You're currently in Texas, or you're coming. I think you're in Arizona, and now you're in Texas.
I was in Arizona and I drove into New Mexico for this test.
Now you're in New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us what they're experimenting on? No.
And that's UAVs.
UADs.
No, UAVs.
UAVs. You mean
Drones.
drones? Flying drones.
Yeah.
Will you fly a drone?
Me?
Yeah.
I've flown some. The ones tonight, the vendors are here to demonstrate where they're at. So we can evaluate them to see if they're worth the government really looking at. So I think we have 4 or 5 vendors that are here on their own dime to show us their products. And then, so my PhD is in tech transfer. So basically, I'm saying I'm doing like an independent verification and validation. Are they doing what they said they can do? And should we maybe look a little further?
Oh, interesting. Guys, that is my question. He has answered my one question. Have you flown an unmanned vehicle? You have that.
I've done
There you go.
UAVs and UGVs. Yeah. I haven't done a USV, but yeah.
What is a USV?
Unmanned surface vehicle. So it's the boats or it's the boats.
No kidding. Mike,
But
Mitch, what questions you got for Brian before we jump out of here? I do have one question at the very end, but I want to make sure I save some room for you guys.
Oh, it's just hang on. I just friend of my dad's was talking about a drone company, and I'm trying to find it in my email to see if these are one of the guys that are demonstrating for you. So Mitch can
So,
take over while
so
I
in 2006, I did a study on balloon companies because balloons and tethered balloons and all that. And I thought, sure, it'd be a simple study. I could knock it out in 30 days. 6 months later, I found out there were like 92 companies in the US that actually had tethered balloons. And I had to go figure out what they all did and document where their capabilities were. So it took me a little longer than I thought.
That sounds frustrating. So you do research for the government. You actually do research for the military.
Yeah, so for the government right now, I'm a senior advisor for technology to the Defense Innovation Unit for the Department of Defense.
That's pretty cool. Go ahead, Mitch.
I was just thinking back to the whole private lending piece and vetting lenders, and obviously, if you have established relationships, that's great. But sometimes you either have tapped out your network, or you just are looking to expand to a different area, whatever it is. So, along with the things that you said, do you also? Because I mean, for me, this is like a big as I get older, I more and more learn to listen to it with the trust your gut. Like if someone gives you like used car salesman vibes, it's just like don't even question it, just trust your gut and move on. So do you also kind of just, from experience, just even having short conversations with someone or even meeting them once, like go off kind of even like a vibe you get about them as part of your decision making?
So I do. It's interesting. I do that. Like I said, I wanted to do oil. I flew and met the guy that ran the company, spent a day with him. But I have, it's funny you should say that because some of these guys are in more structured deals. I've lost more money in more structured, mature deals than guys that have heart. You give me a guy with heart, and he'll give me $1 million worth of work, if he loses money,
True.
right? It's kind of like the guy that I'm helping I just took over his company. His heart's in the right place. He just is not there educationally and business wise to scale to where he's at.
Yeah.
And but he works his butt off. I mean, 7 days a week. Like right now, I said, hey, I need that thing done, and I don't want to see a tool in the house because the appraiser's coming there Monday, and we can't have any tools look like we're still under construction. So no tools in any picture. And
Wow.
And
That's
so
clever. That's good.
That is true. Honestly, that drives me nuts. Like when it comes to like an appraisal or showing, and it's just like there's just like whatever, just tools or something. It's like clear out the place. It needs to look,
it needs
Yeah,
to look
we
showroom ready. It needs to look like it's ready to go.
when we have appraisals now, because they're so big, they're so important, we actually send two of our people go with the appraiser the entire time. And anything the appraiser is about to take a picture of, if anything looks like out of order, they will go handle it. And the appraisers, we got such a good relationship with this appraiser. And it doesn't matter who they send out. Like, but the first thing we say is, dude, if anything's gonna look bad in a picture, you let me know, and we'll go fix it. Like, just please don't let us fail this. Like, if you
We'll
let us
mop it,
know.
sweep it, lift it,
Yeah.
trash it out, and it'll be out of the way.
That's
But that
smart.
relationship
Smart.
is huge. Wow.
That's smart.
Sorry, Mitch. Go ahead.
Not like the old days when they used to say, "So what do you need it to be?"
Right now,
the
that's
good old
those days
days.
are gone.
So
The
what
good-
do you need it to
The good old days, aka like 4 years ago when we were still
You
in
mean not too long
Caribbean.
ago?
be? Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
how we got here.
Yeah,
Mike,
Yeah.
you find that company?
I did not. I found there was another one, so
You can email it to me.
okay.
There's actually under the DoD, there's what they call a blue list. You can go to the blue list and see if they're on there. Those companies are being actively up. They're already approved by the Department of Defense.
Nice.
But there's so many UAS companies that list has to be updated every month.
Gotcha.
And then of course some of them get bought, so they're not on the list. Now they're part of a bigger UAS company. So the market's moving just like any other market.
Yeah.
No, I think the military market moves
This is
fast.
actually a drone company, so that's why I was.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's okay, Mike. Maybe there was some insider trading, looking for some inside scoop, trying to do a little Nancy Pelosi over here. Like, hey, Warren, what do you know? What's going on over there?
There's two that I own. It's they're coming along. Yeah.
So Brian,
Archer
okay, yeah.
Aviation and Joby.
Archer Aviation and Joby.
Joby.
There it is.
Jobey.
Joby.
Yes, the JOBEY is actually in the flying taxi. And so that they are about to get licensed to start moving taxis where they move people around the U.S.
They're like flying APCs, like just whoop,
So
drop them in place.
It's interesting. They're building the pads over in Tampa because Tampa is one of the pilot cities to have flying taxis later this year or first of next year.
Oh, that's wild.
So
Tampa's so ahead of the curve.
You won't take an Uber, you'll take a taxi, but it's just flying above the interstate.
Which is way cheaper than drilling holes through the ground. Mike, the Boring Company might be out of business very soon if these flying taxis take over.
Right?
If they can get the price down on them, it's going to put a hurt on Uber, or these guys will be Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Air
Oh,
Uber.
that's a very interesting industry. So Brian, we got in the sake of go ahead, Mike. You got one? You got one?
No.
Okay,
Just listening.
For the sake of time, there's a question I like to ask every time we have somebody on the podcast who's this knowledgeable. I asked you it 2 years ago when I had you on the Alchemist Station podcast, but you're back 2 years later. So if you go back to your 20-year-old self and give yourself three pieces of advice, what would those three pieces of advice that would get you here healthier, wealthier, and with better relationships? What three pieces of advice would you give to your child, or somebody who's 20 years old, just getting started, who's like fresh? They're fresh and ready to listen, and they could make a difference. What would you go back and tell yourself?
So first one, because I learned the hard way at 20, I guess that's 2021. If you buy a stock, or in this case, or if you buy Bitcoin, or you buy something that is launching, don't sell. I owned Dell and Cisco in 1990. I made 100% return in 90 days, and if I'd kept it, both of them would be worth double-digit millions today.
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, don't worry about the degree or the certification. Figure out what the hell you want to do in life then get the education or the degree or the certification or whatever it is, because life's too short. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, then you're in the wrong business or wrong job. What I see is people hate their job because then all of a sudden they got enough money, they're making enough money in it now. They still hate it, but they can't go find another job what they really like because they can't take the pay cut. Right?
Yeah.
Life's too short. If you're not happy, quit. Go do what you enjoy, and then that way you'll be wealthier, healthier, and ready to go. And it'll help you both physically, mentally, and psychologically for life. Right?
I like that.
Nice.
And then a second one is find the right partner. Whether it's a business partner, a spouse, somebody that can be your accountability partner, that you could talk to, that you could sit in the hot tub, you can go on trips with, you can do whatever it is. Because I learned also too, watching a lot of my friends, that multiplication is a better life than division.
Fair. That's fair.
Okay. So
Very good. Good wealth knowledge there too.
So it's again though, but you find the right person you can live with, you can talk with, you can, and one of my best friends just got married, but I told him, I said, he's really been married to this girl for a decade. They're common law married in multiple states.
Yeah.
But when you can stay together for 12 or 14 years and you're not married, you're really, you could have left anytime you wanted. So they were really committed, and they went and had a private wedding literally Monday morning on the beach with like 3 people. So find that partner. Like I say, it can be business, it can be family, it can be a spouse, somebody that you can help, they can hold you accountable and you can hold them accountable so that life goes a lot easier.
Sorry.
That's great. So one, whatever you think is popping off, buy it and just hold it. Hold it forever. Hold forever. The investment term for Brian Kent from now on is forever. It's actually very similar to Michael Shine's philosophy. I watched what Mike did with Tesla.
My dad.
And your dad's a perfect example of
the
that.
Stocks he's owned for 50 years now.
He just takes a chunk of
forever
money,
man.
buys it, and then he
Dividend
buy anymore.
Dividend reinvests and just keeps. And
Yeah.
some of the companies don't, but most of them.
No, but he owns Nvidia from forever ago, like Tesla
And
from forever ago.
My broker was saying, you need to sell something. So are you freaking crazy? Till I see that thing blip, it ain't going nowhere. We're going to just ride the wave.
I had the same conversation with Mitch and Mike today. Mitch was like, hey, this little crypto project we're in is mooning. And I said, I'll hold. I'll keep holding. I'm just going to let it hold forever.
Yeah.
I didn't tell Mitch I lost my keys, so I can't get it out anyway. But I just watched my wallet. And this is why I invest in real estate. There's no keys. There's if I lose my keys, I can go find my keys. So Brian, that is powerful. If someone wants to get in touch with you, they want to find out more about what you're doing, more about your speaking engagements, more about the summit, the fun, they want to get on a call with you. What's the easiest way for somebody to get in touch that is easy for you? Where can you be found?
Well, we're posting every day on LinkedIn.
I've seen it.
Yeah, Brian L. Kent, and then we're posting every day on Facebook, both professional and personal. Brian Kent, and then of course my website's www.brianlkent.com. You can click there to schedule appointments at time. Just released a documentary on the webpage, and I'm doing some of the releases on that. It goes through four models. First model is really a little about me and talking about going from the uniform to millionaire. Second one is about the R factor. The third one, I talk about financial indicators. We talk about five times in the last 2 or 3 decades where there's been shifts that cause you to change. And the fourth one, we bring it home, which is kind of where you want to be. So it's a great documentary if somebody wants to watch it. It's about 40 minutes. It's 4 10-minute segments, something like that. But
where can you find that? Where is that documentary again?
Yeah, BrianLKent.com.
BrianLKent.com.
Or on some of if you go to Facebook or LinkedIn, you'll see in one of the posts of the last week, there'll be a link there that says docuseries.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, of course, just hired a coach because I've been speaking. He calls himself a coach, but he's not really a coach. He's really an agent. He's coming down. We're going to go through, and he's going to take over my speaking business piece for me.
It's like a consultant. He comes in, he does puts you on stages, puts you where you need to be.
Yeah,
Yep.
and put me where I need to be for professional services. Where actually now for the books, the videos, all the things that I do. Also, too, from fundraising for opportunities, more people are seeing me. So we probably will have a. I got to work with him probably starting that in October, November. Of course, October's full. Got a investor, and I got the summit. So, and then on the 4th, my the R Factor is a finalist. I'm one of the top 3 business books under that group. So I'll be in Hollywood on a red carpet tuxedo type thing to see if I'm the winner for the year. But yeah, so October's full.
So Brian, let me ask you one last question before we jump off. And this is not a normal question I normally ask people, but I think I should. Guys, Mike, Mitch, Matt, let's hold me accountable to this in the future. What is it you're looking for right now? What is the kind of person or what is the kind of opportunity that you're looking for right now? Because a lot of times people will watch this episode and then they'll come and message you and then they'll ask you, hey, what are you looking for? That happens a lot in our community anyway. So what is something that if somebody heard this and they said, man, I really like this guy, I vibe with him, I like where he's going, I like his experience. What are you looking for right now so they can send it to you, so they can bring you those types of relationships or leads or
Well, I think
opportunities?
Somebody that wants to be a partner, not to come sell me a deal. Right? In other words, I don't want to take their deal or I don't want to take their company. But if I'm an investor, I want to know that I can trust them to be who they are. And so what I'm looking for, I mean, I'm not a young guy anymore. I'm not 30, right? It's like the song says, my next 30 years. I'm trying to eat better now. I was walking in 105-degree heat yesterday for an hour. Talked to you on that call, and
I know.
but I think the key is I'm looking for things that can be in life enriching, right? And that's part of the investments, that's part of the business. I don't mind being a part owner in 50, 60 businesses as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing. If I can't get along with the person, I don't want to be with the person, and I don't need to be in business with the person.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for people that if they want to do something together, let's do it together. Or if they need my advice on something, let's do it together. But I'm not looking to just spin my wheels to talk to people. Or it's kind of like that. I think I've mentioned this to you. Before I would even do a coaching session or a mentoring session, I made them read the E-Myth.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
couldn't even get on my counter without reading the E-Myth. Because you wanted to start a business, you need to understand what a business is. And the E-Myth to me was a very simplistic model that described the business. And then once they read it, I'd say, okay, who are you? Are you the entrepreneur, the manager, or the technician? So we can start off the conversation the right way.
So yeah, there's 2 books. So for everybody who's listening right now, there's 2 books that Brian suggests every entrepreneur read. Brian, what are those 2 books?
The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, and then The Dream Manager. The Dream Manager teaches you how to live and work with your employees. And the gentleman in that book took a 600% a year turnover down to single digits just because he took care of his people.
Yeah. And I'm taking my leasing team out tonight because you had me read that book. That's my next thing right after this. I'm driving out to go have dinner with these guys. And yeah, I owe a lot of our success out here in operations is because of the stuff you pounded in my head over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So
if you do those 2 books, then I point people to the book. What the people told me, why are you referring people to books? Write your own book. So I wrote my book. So now when you ask me a question, I say, go read chapter 4 or go read chapter 6.
I love it, by the way.
The principles apply, right? It's about accountability and building the right team.
And so when you read the book, the R Factor, I keep going back to chapter 5 because that for me over and over is the most important chapter. Right butts, right seats. It's like I don't want to train anybody. I just want the right person from the very beginning in the role that they belong in. I think that's what you just said. Like I don't want coaches. Like I get a lot of people hit me up. Oh man, I can help you make more money, dude. I'm not interested. What I would like is for somebody to go and do the job for me. And then I like consultants, like consulting firms. You take my staff I already have and you go put them to work, winning. And it sounds like, Brian, that's a part of what you guys are doing for the contracting companies.
And again, though, Gualter, if you go back to chapter 5, I give you the form.
Yeah.
If you follow the form, you won't hire the wrong person.
Yeah. No, me and Mike were actually.
Or
Mike,
if you do, you can only blame yourself for half-assing the interview.
Mike, you got to look at chapter 5 in the book. So he has the form because Mike's looking to hire some people for his law practice right now, and so he's working on it, and he's got some amazing staff already, and one of them's leaving. So now it's like, what do you do? So Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Alchemist Station podcast. We aim to do this on like 4:30 EST on Wednesdays. Sometimes we skip if one of us is traveling. Can you imagine there's three of us, then we got to get a guest on. Last week we did Eric Bone, who had over $1 billion worth of real estate. Brian and Eric are also very good friends, so we're kind of going through this community of our mentors and guides who have been helping us out over the last few years. So thank you, Brian. If you want to learn more about Brian Kent, go to brianlkent.com. If you want to learn more about Alchemist Nation, go to alchemiststation.com. Choose your success from your choice. Always work with the best. Mike, take us out of here.
Massive income from passive income. Peace.
Mitch, how do we get it?
We organize and we collect.
That's right, because the point is not to work, it's to generate income. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks,
Awesome
Brian.
interview today.
Peace.
Take care, guys.